Can you see me? Do you hear me now? Hi, Greg. Hi, Greg. Hi, Kirk. Do you see me? Do you hear me? Oh, that is nice. I don't know what is... So, I don't see properly. Okay. So I'm sorry. Oh yeah. So now now I see me as well. That is very nice. Okay. Thank you so much for being with me here, and thank you so much for supporting me in our memberships, live streams, and this is the second one, I think. Yeah. So I see that there are 3 people. So I think it's Greg, Xenia, and Kirk. So let's start, I think. So I have here a plan of what to tell you. So our topic today is how many Russians, not how many, but why Russians support the war. And I think we need to start this conversation, this explanation with trying to understand how many people in Russia actually support the war. But unfortunately, the statistics that is available now is not very trustworthy, is not very reliable, because first of all, many people are afraid to speak on camera or to participate in any polls regarding the supporting the war or not supporting the war. And I think that if you watch other channels, Russian channels on YouTube which explain how things work now in Russia, you may have already heard that out of 10 people who participate in polls regarding the support or not support of the war, like only 1 or 2 people say that, oh, I support, and others just say, I'm not speaking on this topic with you. I keep my opinion by myself. And that means when the official statistics is counting the supporters, they think that, oh, the 2 people who actually were agreed to answer the question, so there are 10, there are 2 out of 2, and that makes 100% support the war. But they don't really count the people who refused to participate in the poll. So, and they don't cover those people in their official statistics, because they want our marvelous president, Mr. Putin, to believe that 100% of Russian population supports the war. So that is how the Russian statistics work now, and has been working like long before. So Kirk, I'm reading your comment. I imagine that if you put a camera and a microphone in the face of your typical Russian, there is a right answer and a very wrong answer. Yes, that's right. That's what it is now. So there is only one correct answer, and for the question, do you support the war? And it's yes. And many people just who don't support the war, they just are afraid of answering. By the way, today today I got a call, and the person just, oh, hello. I am from a polling company, and we are asking people about this and that. And what did I answer him? Answered him that I don't participate in such a poll. And it's not only because I'm afraid to speak, but it's the other reason, because there are so many scammers who do like telephone polls. They make your voice, they I don't know, tape your voice, and then they make the answer yes and no, and out of your sounds, and they can just take a loan for you without your consent, because you they just compile the answer yes. So mainly I refuse to talk to this particular call, because I don't know if they are bank scammers or not. I don't want to lose my money, you know. Yeah. Greg, after 9/11, people were afraid too here in the USA. I remember a country music band, the Dixie Chicks, were oh my god, I don't know the word. Ostracized for it. What is ostracized? Ostracized, I don't know this word. Kicked out. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, so there are two reasons why people are afraid to participate in such polls, because they are afraid of scammers. If they are participating in call polls, like phone polls, and they're afraid of speaking to somebody like on camera on streets, because there was a case when a person who participated in 1420 channel video, he actually got a fine. He was found and he got a fine for what he was telling in that video. And if you don't know, 1420 is also a channel on Russia, on a Russian topic. So the guys who are engaged in that channel, they go and interview the people on the streets. And one of their interviewers got a fine. Nice. Yeah. Such scams are also rumored to happen here, but I've never personally seen one. Yeah, but you know, I get such a call maybe once a month, and maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, I was participating in such polls, but now I just don't. I don't know who are they. Are they a real workers for this analysis company, or they are just scammers? I don't know. So this is one. So we don't know how many people really support, like how many Z patriots are there. Of course, we can make a conclusion that there are far too many people who support the war. In my analysis, so there are about 15 to 20% like Z patriots, like turbo patriots, and around maybe 30% of people who don't support at all the war. So that makes about 50%, and other 50%, they're like, oh, we don't like that the war is going on, but the Nazis in Ukraine is not also good. So we had to start this war, but we want this war to end as soon as possible. So there are such people. And of course, there are such people who like don't care at all. They just live their normal life. So it's my analysis of the situation. So, Kirk, or are they your friendly state police? Yeah, you don't know who are the people who are calling you. So, and the other topic is that the propaganda in Russia is very strong. So all the information resources that are accessible now without any VPNs or without any, you know, difficulties are the sources which belong to the government. And that means that those sources are just propaganda. And our country spends a lot of money, like billions of Russian rubles for propaganda. And if in America or in Europe there are a lot of different sources of information which belong to different entities, to different people, to different like agencies, like governmental or private or like companies, but in Russia we don't have this. And for many people the state owned source of information is the most reliable in Russia. Those are people who are retired or who don't have good education, you know, so they listen to the only governmental sources of information. And of course, they believe everything that they are told. But those people who like to analyze the information, who like to find the information, of course, they try to watch as many sources as possible and form their opinion based on multiple opinions. And Greg, more and more the media is right or left, conservative, Republican, liberal, Democrat. Yes, in America there is, in my opinion, I don't mean to just to offend you, but there is only two parties in America. That makes not a very great choice, but still two sources of information that you can access freely is more than one. So yeah, and I know that there are a number of TV channels which belong to like many companies, and like something belongs to Trump, something belongs to other people. So so there are many sources of official information in America. So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but this is what I think about it. So here, so we have now two topics. So we don't know how many people really support the war, but we anticipate that there are very many people support the war. And we know about the propaganda, how it works in Russia. And now I want to go to the topic why that made such a great possibility to our government to be supported by many people. So in Russia and in the USSR, there was a very strong concept of heroism. So people who were heroes were just, were great people, were cheered by other people. So, for example, the people who fought in the Second World War were heroes. Every one of them, they were heroes. And if you know, there were about 23 or even 26 million people who died at that war. And many of those 26 million people were soldiers, and they are considered heroes in Russia. You mean the Great Patriotic War? Yes. So we in Russia and in CIS countries, we call there are two names for this war. We call it either the Great Patriotic War or the Second World War. So, yes, 26 million, about 26 million people died, and that is a very, big amount of people, a very great number of people. So you will hardly find any family in Russia and in Belarus, Ukraine, maybe even in Kazakhstan, in Georgia, whose grandfather, great grandfather didn't participate in war. And you will hardly find any family on the post-Soviet territory whose relative didn't die during that war. It may be a soldier, it may be a person who died in a concentration camp, it may be a person who died of hunger during the Second World War. But there are almost no families who didn't suffer from this war. And during that war, we fought with Nazis. And if Nazis win, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine would be different countries now. Maybe even we would not speak Russian, Belarusian, or Ukrainian. We would all speak German, and all live in concentrational camps. This is what Germans, Nazis wanted for the Soviet Union people. And that is a very great trauma, not for people who fought during that war, but several generations to come after the war. So this is the concept of heroism. So people who fought in the Second World War are considered heroes in Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Georgia. So this is one type of heroism, and this is another type of heroic actions. So in this concept of heroism during the USSR implies that a person could risk their life to save other people, for example, like it was in Chernobyl, for example, or any other catastrophes, any other situations. So when we speak about such person as a hero and his actions to risk their life for the sake of other people, so we mean that before that situation, which caused this danger for many people, there were people who didn't do their work properly, who didn't comply to the rules of safety, and that's why that hero had to risk their life or even give their life for the sake of other people, like it was in Chernobyl, in Kishtim tragedy. It was also like the nuclear disaster on the territory of the USSR, but nobody knows about it. And now, so here is the concept of heroism. And now let's switch to the present day people of Russia. Nuclear waste explosion. Yeah, Mayak. So, in the USA, the Great Patriotic War veterans are considered our greatest generation. Yeah. So, now we switch to the present day Russians. Present day Russians are not people who have many opportunities in their lives, especially if they live out of Moscow, out of St. Petersburg, out of any other big city, like million population city. So they don't have any opportunities in their lives. And it's about, I don't know, like maybe millions of people. And meanwhile, all their childhood, all their youth ages, they used to hear stories about how heroic their grandfathers were, how they fought with Nazis, how they won the Nazis, and just try to understand how those people of Russia, of present day Russia, feel. They feel nothing. They are literally nothing for their government, for their state. They are nothing for their families, because many men in Russia, they just drink a lot of alcoholic drinks. That's it. They cannot earn properly. They cannot maintain their families, because many families in Russia live behind the poverty level. But the official statistics, of course, is just goes like, oh no, there are a lot of people who are well-being people in Russia. But of course, the reality is the opposite. So those men who have nothing to do to be heroes for their families, for their children, for their country, and who were raised in the concept of heroism, they just got an opportunity to become heroes. So this is the main concept. Why so many people support the war, in my opinion, because it's just, social problem. So many people nowadays, people have this so-called revanchist sentiment, like, we will fight the West, we will show them how great Russia is, how we are like how we are a great country with great traditions. And those people who are now on the battlefield, they just want to be heroes for their country. They want to mean something for their country. They want to be like their grandfathers who fought real Nazis. But now the Russian propaganda is, benefiting of this trauma, this like very deep trauma that the Russian nation, that the USSR people, I mean, there are a lot of people, Belarusians, Ukrainians, that trauma that people got for several generations, and the Russian government now benefit from that trauma, calling the people in Ukraine Nazis. They know that this would recall so many feelings in the Russian society. They knew it. The politician technologists that work with Putin, they may be very bad people, but they are very clever people. They knew how to play on that trauma. That is why people in Russia believed in Nazis, because their previous generation, their great fathers, their grandfathers, and great grandfathers fought against Nazis. And this trauma played a very, very bad trick on the Russian people, because in their present day life, they just mean nothing at all. They cannot achieve great things in their lives. For example, if you start a company, you will lose your company like in several years to come. It's for sure, because a Russian economy is not stable. Russian currency is not stable. It was never stable before, and that's why it is very, very difficult to run a company in Russia, especially if you buy something abroad and sell it in Russia, because this currency fluctuation is very hard, and it's very hard to maintain the contractual work. Like if you buy something in Europe at one price, but then the currency plummets to the earth like Russian currency, and you have to spend more money, Russian money, that you implied to spend on the equipment that you bought for that contract. And that makes the Russian business not reliable, not prosperous. In many cases, of course, there are many businesses which quite okay, but there are this life is not for everybody, and you have to be very strong to maintain a business, to be a boss in a Russian company, because everything is on you. So, for example, now in our company where I work, there are a lot of difficulties and issues regarding the sanctions, regarding the regarding the payments. We have to deal with this every day, and thanks God I'm not a boss or a head of the department, because I think I would be a very nervous person now, even more nervous than I'm now, So, my dear friends, this is why I think many people support Russia, support war, because they want to be a hero for their country, for their family, and they want their names to be written in the history, because those people who died back in the Second World War, they are all heroes, and their names are forever in the Russian history. People remember them. After so many years, people commemorate their deaths. People are very sad about losing so many great men during that war. And the present day Putin's supporter, they want the same. They want their names to be written in the history. So this is my opinion on why the propaganda played this card, like Nazi card, on Ukraine, and why this card, Nazi card, was supported by so many Russians. So This is my opinion. This is my analysis. This is my, like, so this is my research on the history. So this is it for today. And if you have any questions, you can ask. You can ask me. So, Greg, I see you have a comment. The perception is that pressure on Russia is overwhelming. This is true, not propaganda. Pressure on Russia? What do you mean by pressure on Russia? I don't understand this. So I don't think that if you mean that pressure on Russia, like by the West, I don't think it was Russia was so pressed. Putin was pressed, yes, but he's not, the only person in Russia. Many Russians want him out of his position. I know that many people in the West want him out of his position, but the sanctions, the money, the military support, I don't, but I don't know about the military support of Ukraine, you mean, but of course, so what do you want? Putin to win? No thanks. I don't want to live in the world where Putin will win. Really, it will be a very different world and not a very good world, unfortunately. Yes, and that, by the way, what our marvelous president was trying to do. He wanted this war to last as long as possible, to drain Ukraine and the Western and their Western partners of money, of intentions to help Ukraine. This is what was meant by this, by Putin, and of course, diplomacy should work, but unfortunately, Russian diplomacy is not a professional diplomacy. Our Minister of Foreign Affairs speaks like a, he speaks like a person who was in prison. His words are the words of a person who was in prison. Why is this person is the head of foreign affairs minister? I don't know. His speech, when I hear it in Russian, sounds like a speech of a person who served a sentence in a prison. He uses the words like people use in prison, in Russian prisons. It's not normal when a person of such a position speaks like that. It's not normal. And that's why I understand the Russian diplomacy failed. Yes, because nobody wants to speak to a person who speaks back to you like, ha, what do you want? What do you want from us? Ha. I don't know, sorry. My explanation, yes, Lavrov. If you knew Russian, you would be very astonished of his speeches. Really, it's disgusting. His words that he uses in Russian when he speaks about the West is disgusting. Really, it's not diplomatic at all. His words are not should not be used as diplomacy. That's why Russian diplomacy failed on these questions. Nobody wants to speak to such a person. Of course. So, yeah. Yeah, Putin's diplomacy with Prigozhin is the diplomacy that we get. This is the type of the diplomacy that Russians get. So, my dear friends, do you have any questions on the topic, or maybe on the other topic? Would you like ask something about it? Our diplomats are good at politeness but achieve very little. Yes, because when you speak to a bunch of criminals, how can you achieve something? Criminals must go to prison. So here is the criminals must be treated by the police, by, like, I don't know, international police or something like that. But you know, many, not many, the majority of Russian officials, to my opinion, look as criminal leaders. Really, just look at their faces. It doesn't oh my god, I forgot the word. It doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. They look like they served sentences in prison. Yes, they look like they are thugs. But no, they are officials in Russia. Look at the face of the third person in Russian politics, Volodin. He has a face as if he was a criminal gang leader. Really, the majority of them have such faces, and I think somewhere deep in the back of my mind that maybe before 2000, when Putin became a president, they were engaged in criminal affairs, really, because you know, their faces, the look of their faces speaks instead of them, for them. Yeah. Diplomats are trained to adapt. If they wanted to, they could talk with anyone, criminal or not. Maybe, but something failed. Apparently something failed. I think that maybe the American diplomats or Europe diplomats and Russian diplomats were discussing all this internally, not giving the information to us, to ordinary people. And apparently they failed to make a deal. Apparently, because you know, I think it will be the topic of our next discussion, because I think that this Donbas issue and Russian language issue in Ukraine was not the real reason for this war to start, because there were so many opportunities to end these topics, not even asking the Western countries. There were so many opportunities. Russia has a lot of money to organize relocation programs, for people who didn't like to live in Ukraine and speak Ukrainian. It's not the real, saving people of Donbass was not the real reason why this war started. And I have my own, again, I have my own opinions on that, really. Because, you know, I'm also a two-language speaker. I speak Belarusian and I speak Russian. And I was a Russian who lived in Belarus. And believe me, for me, the question of the topic of which language to speak is not that crucial to start a war. Really. It's not the reason to start a war. It's a matter of very, you know, it's a matter of very quite an easy decisions to make to avoid any wars regarding the language people speak in your country. There are a lot of opportunities to make a deal on that. But apparently that was only a reason to start a war. And I think we will talk about it the next time. So I have my own opinions on that, really, because as I told you before, I am such a person who speaks two languages. So it's not the real reason. I think, Kirk, what do you think about the reason for the war really is? I think we will speak about it the next time. Yeah, it's for the next time. And you know, today I'm preparing a new video on my channel, and I hope I will be able to finish it before night comes. But there is quite a lot of work there still. I hope I will be able to finish it. It is a video on my travel to Karelia in the beginning of summer. I hope I will be able to finish it, and you will see the video today. But maybe if I will not be able to finish it today, so I will post it next Sunday or Saturday, or maybe during the week. Maybe, I don't know. Just I will decide on that. And you speak 3 languages. Yes, I speak 3 languages, totally 3 languages, and Russian, Belarusian, and English. And I can understand German. And when I was graduating from my university, I could speak quite a decent German. But now I only can understand, day-to-day talk. So, my dear friends, thank you so much for being with me today. I hope that many people will be able to see this live stream afterwards. I will preserve it. I don't know, post it on our memberships page. So, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Greg and Kirk. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you. You're great. You made it to the live stream. I know it's early morning where you are, right? How much is the time where you live? Oh my God. Is it really so early? 9 o'clock. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with me. So, my dear friends, I think we will be wrapping up today, and maybe I don't know, I will just write down the topic for the next live stream. It's Greg is 12:45. Oh, it's like midday. Okay. So why the war started, the real reason for the war. Okay, we will speak on it the next time, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. So, my dear friends, thank you so much. Thank you for being with me, and see you next time. Bye, my dear friends.